And hello, good people of the internet. It is I, Tommy Kelly. This is Adventures in Woo Woo. And in this episode, we're doing some more 47 one-card divinations for the good people over on Patreon. If you want to get in on this, then all you have to do is sign up to Patreon at any level. And at the beginning of the month, you send in your question and I pick out a card and answer it and interpret it in the way I think the 47s are trying to answer or give advice to your question. I always ask people to kind of look at divinations that I do as more something to be considered rather than the word of God or something that's definitely going to happen, or it's the truth, capital T, just something to consider, as you would if you were talking to your friend about your problem and they offered some advice. That's the kind of spirit which I think divination should be taken. This month, I'm going to use the Neophyte edition of the 47s, but I'll also put up the graphics on the screen so you can have a look at the original versions. So, Shiva, today marks my 51st trip around the sun. Happy birthday. I assume it was a few days ago though. Happy birthday a few days ago. What advice do I need for the coming year? The protester. So, speak your own voice, speak your truth. If you're angry about something or feel something needs to be said, then say it. Don't feel that you can't say things, or don't, just kind of hide behind, politeness, or maybe I shouldn't ruffle any feathers or any of those things, or don't be meek, or don't be weak, I suppose. If you have something to say it. Stand up for what you believe in, stand up for who you are. Speak with your authentic voice. Protest the things that you feel need protesting. Be angry if you feel you need to be angry. But it's mostly about standing up for yourself, standing up for what you believe in, and speaking your truth. So that's good advice at any time of your life. But that's the advice going forward for this year. Abraxas. Which servant best represents this time in my life? The carnal. Interesting. So, the carnal represents obviously sex. It represents lust and how we feel about those things, but also how we embody those things and how we project those out into the world. So, the carnal, how would this represent time life? Is start thinking about how you are kind of feeling as a physical being, as a sexual being, and maybe you need to experiment. Maybe you need to stop experimenting. I don't know what you're doing, Abraxas. It could be either way. But kind of think more about how are you expressing yourself as a sexual being? Is it that you need to come away from, go into a more of a kind of a chasty type thing, or do you need to go the other way and become a bit more slutty? Do you need to experiment a bit more, or what it is? Only you will know. But it's kind of whatever it is that the representation that represents your life right now is some sort of sexual energy, which of course in a spiritual sense could be like something like Kundalini or any of these things. So yeah, good luck with that. Sounds fun. Is Vincenus. It's my birthday month. Happy birthday. What lesson should I take into this next year of my life? The desperate. So, not exactly what you want to hear, and I'll not just put a positive spin on it just because that's what I tend to do. I suppose that's just read it as it is. So the desperates obviously is desperation, feeling things are on top of you, that things are bad, that they're as bad as they can be, that you can't cope, and that you just anxiousness, depression, sadness, been feeling overwhelmed. And I suppose what lesson should I take into this next year of my life is that to look at your times then of when you have embodied the desperate, and then see coming into the new year what you can learn from that so that you don't end up in the same place, that it's not the default kind of way of dealing with things. If you are feeling overwhelmed, or if you have had periods of feeling overwhelmed, what were the things that you could have done differently, or what are the things that would have helped, or what are the things that you could have changed or augmented or whatever in order that it doesn't happen again, or doesn't happen in the same way, or that you can deal with it in a better way. But it's kind of what can I take into the next year is your experience from being the desperate, and how then deal with that better, and look at the resources you have, look at the ways you could have done it better, you could have, so that it doesn't get to that point. and be aware that sometimes you're going to be overwhelmed and have a plan for what's going to happen when that happens. So good luck with that. Life is tough, man, and the world's not getting any less tough. So if you have a proclivity towards feeling overwhelmed, then make sure that you have good kind of rules in place or good procedures in order for that lessens the impact of it, or that you can get around it altogether. Sarah Ventura, what should my focus be this month? Fortunate, quite the opposite of of the last one. So your focus should be then on gratitude and the good things you have, and what can be, what you have, what's going well for you. See all the good things that are about to happen. I suppose the focus is on fortune. I suppose that also could be, your focus could be a bit on money, or a bit on your finances, or how to increase your fortune. But generally, it feels like it's about gratitude and counting your blessings and being happy, aiming to be happy and fortunate and all of those things. So you can be the yin to the yang, I suppose. Max, I wish to know about the future of the band. By the way, I'm asking the servants, not you. And the reason why Max says that is that myself and Max are going to do some music together. If and when I get some time. I am excited about it, and I am looking forward. The Contemplator. So that would suggest that, to me, what's the exact question? I want to know the future of the band is to just kind of let it do what it needs to do. It's kind of this idea of, turning something over to consciousness, or yourself, or your subconscious, in order for it to kind of be allowed to come up with an answer, rather than trying to use your other part of your brain, which is very analytical. So it's kind of going, let it be what it is. Let it just kind of develop its own thing. Let it come in its own time, rather than forcing it, I suppose. Which is good from my perspective, but might be good from your perspective. But yeah, just try not to put too many rules on it, or it's not really about having expectations around it. It's just try and let it be what it is and develop the way it is. Let the idea come intact, fully, and then you manifest it, rather than deciding what the idea is before it comes. So it is something. There's something coming from idea space that's going to get manifested, and we have to try not to get in the way of that. Instead, let it be what it is. Let it be a channel, and let it be what it is. Katrin, how can I best find the source of my problems? The moon. These are completely not going in focus. I put them right beside my face. The moon. That looks very weird. I'm looking at the screen, that's why I'm looking off camera. Very professional. Anyway, the moon. It's probably the most accurate card for the answer. How do I find the source of my problems? Because the moon is, of course, it's the light in the darkness. In one sense, it can be hope. But sometimes hope in the negative sense is that it's the hope that is the thing that is making you unable to get any further. It's like when someone breaks up with someone, it's the hope of thinking that they will get back together is the thing that prolongs the suffering. But I'm not sure that's exactly what's being shown here. It's that the moon, of course, is also the light in the darkness, in the sense of it's not its own light, it's a reflection of something else. It's the sun reflecting on it and illuminating that way. So it's, in a sense, deception or lies. So the source of your problem, given by what the moon is saying, is that there's some sort of lies or deception or something in the darkness. There's something not true about what's going on. There's in some way being deceived or telling yourself an untruth about something. Of course, there's a shadow possibly around it. But it's that whatever way you're looking at the problem, there's something about that isn't true. And it might be the way you're looking at it, or the information you have about it, or if it's someone else, it's that they're not telling you the truth. But there's some lie, there's some deception, there's some light in the darkness that isn't a true light. And of course, the good counter to the moon is to use the sun, because that is the light coming into the darkness. So if you wanted to work with a servant, I would work with both the moon and the sun. And good luck with that. Bira. Someone hid some facts from me. How dare they? And other people. I'd like to know why. What was his purpose or intention? Intriguing, intriguing, intriguing. The desperate. Interesting. So this would suggest that it was done out of desperation, I suppose, in one sense. That it was them not being able to cope with something. That they were in a bad place emotionally. Let me see what's been said here. That it was like a last-ditch attempt to do something. That it felt that there was no other options. That in order to maintain something or to try and hold on to something, it's a bit like, I suppose, in a relationship where when you feel that it's been, that your partner's going to leave you or something like that, that you tend to move into trying to be the person that you think they want you to be rather than yourself, and then there's this kind of a desperation of just kind of, I'll do anything or something. There's that kind of feeling to it. There's a kind of a weak desperation of losing yourself, and then there's this kind of attempt to hold on to something in a very false, almost cowardly way. It's that kind of sense of trying to hold on to something that's going away, and doing almost silly things, I suppose, or desperate things in order to try and maintain it. That's the feeling I get from it. Only you can know if it's appropriate to the situation. J. Eric. June is going to be a busy month. Which of the servants will be the most helpful for the month? The protester. As always, we have card servants coming out numerous times. Speaking your truth. Making sure that if there's something that you think is going to go wrong, something that's going to be hassle, you say it up front. You don't kind of hope that it works out. Put your best foot forward, to be forceful, be, I was going to say aggressive, but not aggressive, but be assertive. That if, make sure that your ideas have been heard, make sure it's been true to what you want to do. It's like if you're going into a project and you go, I just know this isn't going to work, that this is going to end up being the way it always is, or whatever, that you make sure that is said up front, and that you don't allow it to go its course. That you instead make sure that you say, no, this isn't going to work, and I'm not accepting it. Yeah, stand up for yourself. Stand up for what you believe in. May your voice be heard. Grayson. How can I help myself be a better person this month? The healer. By looking after your own wants and needs, by making sure you're getting enough rest, by making sure you're eating healthily, by making sure you're exercising, by making sure that you have time to recuperate, that you have your own space, whatever you need. Look after yourself first. That's the foremost before you try to be a better person for other people. Make sure that you're at your full resources rather than emptying your resources in order to be a better person. Because it's like, I suppose there's an implication with how to be a better person, but how to be a better person usually is the implication, how do we be a better person for other people? But I would suggest you start with yourself with this one. Look after yourself. That's how you be a better person this month. Cobra. Card falling on the ground, Cobra, before I even read your question. Let's just put that to a side. How should I deal with the lack of communication problems in my life? Let's see what it says. It was the healer, so I obviously just dropped it immediately. How do I deal with the lack of communication? Healing, again, it's the same thing. So you have to look at yourself. You have to make sure you're okay. Rather than kind of being, I suppose, well, hold on. How do I deal with the lack of communication problems? It involves healing these relationships, and that's the healing of the communication. So what is it that can be done that can heal it? if you look at it from a healing point of view rather than like a problem to be solved. How can this be healed rather than solved? What is the thing that has to happen? And by that I mean is that you mightn't have to work it out. You mightn't have to, if it's a case of giving the person or they're forgiving you, or it might be about letting everything go that came to up to now and just starting again. But rather than trying to solve it or work it out or be right or sort it or have it out with the person or look at it. It's just look at it from the point of view, how do I heal this? How do I get what I want? How do I get the communication to start again, rather than how do I get rather than wanting to reprimand the situation for how it got there, or reprimand the person or whatever. It's look at the solution rather than trying to get justice for the lack of communication or whatever it is that that you went through. Benny, how can I begin having my thoughts and feelings less focused on the energy of another? Levitator. Look at it from a different angle. What advice would you give a friend in the same situation? If it wasn't you, what is the thing that should be done? How would you approach it if there was no emotional high involved? The other way to look at it is to look at the relationship you have or had that you're trying to get past from a different angle. Look at it and go, was it as good as I thought it was? Was I getting what I want from it? And possibly the answer might be yes, but this would suggest that the Levitator, there's something that if you look at it from a different angle, it will reveal itself in a different way that then will allow you to move forward. What's your exact question again? How to begin having my thoughts and feelings less focused on the energy? Well, the other thing I suppose then the Levitator is literally find something else to focus on rather than allowing yourself to have time to sit and kind of fester, if you want. So find a new hobby, find a new outlet, find something that you can move your attention to rather than trying to lessen an attention on one thing, put it on something else. And good luck with that, because that's tough. Craig, what card represents me this month? Well, that's interesting. There was one card turned the other way that I noticed, and it's the Protector. I suspect that that's the card. So yes, this is what represents you, being a protector. And being someone who looking out for other people to make sure other people are safe. But of course, turning that towards yourself to making yours safe and protect it, shield it, that your home is. That you in some way have to be the protector. That's the question, was what card represents me? So it's, you are the protector. You are the person who has to do the protecting. Not that something necessarily terrible is going to happen and that you have to be, big, strong protector and take it all. But that, have a look at that maybe there's someone vulnerable in your area, someone vulnerable in your life, someone vulnerable in your immediate vicinity, work, home, whatever, and to make sure that they are looked after. Like if there's an example, if there's bullying going on at work or someone, you kind of get a sense that someone's not, that someone mightn't be doing well in regards to, peer pressure or bullying or something, to look out for them, to stand up for them, to make sure they're okay, something like that. MJM, what are my dreams currently trying to tell me? Giver. So that there's some reciprocal relationship where there's an exchange involved. What are my dreams trying to tell me? That would kind of suggest in one way that the way to look at it is not what your dreams are trying to tell you, but what you are bringing to that's resulting in you having these dreams. What's going on that is trying to be processed in this way? What questions are you asking? What's your studies? Where are you coming from? What's going on in your life? So in order to understand what your dreams are trying to tell you, you have to understand the problem that it's trying to solve or the insights that it's trying to share with you. What is it that you're looking for? What is the answer? What's going on? What are you bringing to this? What in the reciprocal relationship of where the dream is saying one thing to you? What are you asking of it? What is the thing that's going on? And within that, you will find the answer of what the dream is kind of. So it's context. What's the context in which these dreams are happening? You know, what's going on in your life? What questions are you asking? What are you studying? What are you looking for? What answers are you expecting? Kira. I haven't had a love life to speak of in years. I'm sorry to hear that, Kira. Do the servants see anything happening for me romantically this month? Before I answer that, again, I'm going to say, consider it as something to consider. I'm not really that keen on divination as prophecy because of the simple fact of that you can then make it happen. So if you got a card and it said, well, I suppose in a positive way, it went, yes, the lovers. You would go, brilliant, that's going to happen. And you can possibly make it happen. But if you, which is fine, you know, that's good magic. But if you got something that was like, I don't know, the despot or something like that, you could then, because it could be just giving you advice saying that if you don't walk around the house and get out, then you might find something. But you could then go to despot, that means no, and then you don't get it. So advice, something to consider rather than prophecy. After all that, give the card. The idea. So, the idea is, it's a seed, right? It's something that grows into something else. So, do the servants see anything happening for me romantically this month? The answer is that something will be sowed. There'll be seed sowed, something that leads to somewhere else. It's not necessarily saying that it's all happening this month, but it could be that you meet someone. It could be that you end up in a situation that you join a new club or something. I don't know what people do. Join a new website, get a new circle at work, join the library, whatever. But something that, I'm not saying you have to do something. When you say something, there's an element of something starts this month that leads somewhere else. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll meet the person, but you could join the club in which you meet the person. It could be any of these things, or the seed could just be that someone starts seeing you in a different light. You start seeing someone in a different light, something. But the seed, the genesis, the beginning bit of something, it is suggested. The very idea of it comes this month. Lynn. What servant can best help with artwork and my beliefs, perception... I'll start that again, Lynn. What servant can best help with artwork and my beliefs and perceptions of success this month? Card wants to be known. The Witch. So, magic. Do the things that we all know. Do your sigils. Do the meditation, the visualizations. Get the manifestation board. Do the law of attraction stuff. Whatever it is, do your magic. Do the stuff that works. Do the things that you know. Affirmations are great for beliefs and perceptions. And I know it's kind of made a bit hokey and a bit kind of, people kind of slag it off a bit or look down on it a bit. But affirmations are great. You can, if you really can embody something. One thing I really like is this kind of idea of modeling things, where I have a post that I did years ago that I'll link in the show description that you can check out, which is about kind of seeing what you're surrounding yourself and emanating a kind of a presence or a feel or a model or something. And it genuinely, in my experience, works. Where if you kind of exude a certain aura or a certain energy, people seem to pick up on it and things kind of change. But I'll link the post. It's explained a bit better than how I did there. And maybe that'll help. But yeah, the witch, get working with the weird and the magic and approach it. Attack it magically. How would you attack this problem magically? Saphira, will I be successful this time? Again, caveat about what I said earlier on about prophecy. It's advice from a friend, something to consider. Do not make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. Not the answer you want. The sun. This is good. Anyway, power. You're in a much better position this time. There's a lot of energy in it. Powerhouse. There's a lot more light shining on it. You have a lot more information. It's been illuminated. So you're in a much better position. Sun is probably the most positive, best card. Servant. In the sense of it has everything. It has the power. It has the light. It has the energy. It's the sun. It's the solar logos. It's the thing. So if you were looking for a positive outcome, that would be the positive outcome. So if you wanted to make that a self-sufficient or self-fulfilling prophecy, then I would advise you to go that thing. But you're in a good position. You're in the best position you could be, but I suppose it's still not saying that the outcome will be successful. It's that Picard meme that you see, which is great, with this line where he goes, it is possible for you not to make any mistakes and do everything correctly and still fail. Not saying that's the case, but just saying that all that's been pointed at here is that you're in the perfect position to be successful. And that if you aren't, that's the way it is. But if you are, excellent and good luck. So, good people of the internet, I hope, beyond hope, that this recorded, because I'm having so much problems that it's very likely it didn't. But if you're seeing this, then it did, and thank the gods. If you want to get in on this, then as I said at the beginning, just join up Patreon. At the beginning of the month, I put up the post. People put in their questions, and I answer them to the best of my ability, given my current knowledge and understanding of the servants. There's plenty of other ways if you like what I'm doing, how to support the channel, the work I do, the newsletter, the comics, the books, all of these things. All the links are in the show description if you want to help out in that way. A great way to help is to leaving reviews, likes, shares. All of those things really do help, and cost you nothing but your precious time. So, good people of the internet, until next time, may our best days be ahead, and be well.